What's up, everybody? I hope your Thursday is amazing. Welcome to another live episode of the Modern Lending Podcast. We're having technical difficulties, but that's what happens when you're live. You just kind of roll with it. So I hope you enjoy. This time I'm joined by a buddy of mine in the industry, a content master, somebody who I look up to a lot, who's obviously killing it in personal production as well. We're running a big team, but we decided we would talk about the worst mistakes we've ever made in our mortgage careers. One of the things I attribute to my success is the ability to learn from other people's mistakes and not make them myself. But of course, I made a crap load. So without further ado, let's bring on Neel and talk about the worst mistakes we've ever made. What's up, dude?
What is going on, man?
We had to pivot from computer to phone and all the stuff because you never know with technology, man.
Yeah, dude, we had to make it work. So hopefully everybody could hear me and see me. But yeah, I have a whole setup sort of like Alex, and for some reason it wouldn't connect. So I threw it out and we're on the phone now.
Yeah, dude, but that's okay because we're going to talk about the worst things that's ever happened when in our careers. This is not one of the worst things. This is probably just a minor inconvenience. So
exactly, dude.
Neel, for those of you guys who don't know Neel, you're missing out on like one of the content leaders of the mortgage industry. You know, this guy's putting out incredible messages, inspirational stuff, tactics. I saw that this morning you're giving away a Rode wireless podcast, a wireless thing, which I love these little things. That's pretty
cool. Yeah. Those are awesome, dude. I've been using those in content for the last year, and that has been the most reliable mic. And the quality, as you can probably attest to, is amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so if you go to follow Neel on his Instagram and his second handle, you get a chance to win one of those. It's really cool. But Neel, you know, so we talk so often, and a lot of the times, you know, in our content strategy, we're super optimistic, sharing tips and tricks, tactics. You know, we're kind of showing the glowy side of our business and our energy to kind of help people, because social media can always be filled with lots of negativity. The news is terrible. You know, so, and I appreciate that about you and what you do. But I thought this would be a fun conversation to just kind of go back at our careers in mortgage and take a look at some of the mistakes that we've made in origination, from the little stuff to the mega stuff, and hopefully, you know, give people a chance to hear it, laugh with us, and then, you know, at the same time, maybe save somebody from making the same mistake.
Yeah, because I did a post about this recently. I said the shortcut to success is simply listening to others who have already done what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, so many times we're trying to figure things out and somebody's doing it already. They've already found success. Just replicate it. Put your own spin on it, or ask for help. Like I've been amazed at like how helpful people are, how willing people are to collaborate. If you're someone that executes. Now, there's a bunch of people that ask questions and never do shit, and then those, you know, then you eventually get known to be one of these people who always talks and doesn't do. And so I've had so many calls with people, and they continually ask questions, and eventually I get to the point where I'm like, dude, just do it and just try something at this point, because if I see you like executing, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Alec, like if you see your team executing, dude, you'll bend over backwards to help them because they're trying. But the guys who just keep talking and never do, those are the ones that you get like, you kind of get like, come on, man, we got to get started here. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter of like, you know, trying to get people to do what just to try any of the 12 or 20 ideas that they have in their head. Just try one of them.
So for everybody watching, and if you want to put in a comment or a bet here on who's going to have the biggest mistake, I have a bet with Neel. We'll see who comes out on top on this one. So just to frame it up a little bit. So Neel, you're actively producing, running a mega branch. What are you on pace to fund this year?
Dude, I don't even know. It's so bad because I don't even look at my numbers. I'm just shocked when I see them every month. But I guess we're at, what would it be if we're doing 30 million a month?
Yeah, there you go. That's enough. That's fine. 30 million a month.
Okay.
It's a ton of production. It's kind of, you know, what's your average loan balance about? Because you're in Reno.
Yeah. It's, so our last month, our average loan size was 380.
There you go. And so we were chatting before the episode started. You know, my last year originating. So I originated from 2003 effectively through 2008. And that was kind of my journey. And so I had plenty of mistakes I made on the origination side. And then when I got into leadership, plenty of mistakes there. So let me kick off with the first one, kind of like a low-hanging fruit one, Neel, and see if you can top me. So in my first year originating, and so I'm very insecure. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. You know, I have some knowledge. I'm dangerous, but you know, I don't have any relationship at all. And I saw a buddy of mine. Well, let me frame this up. I saw a guy who was in the city next door in real estate, and I went to college with this guy. In fact, we played on the UC Berkeley volleyball team together. So like I knew him, right? Like we'd gone to practices before. Like I spent probably 2 years playing with this guy. And so the problem was that in college, you know, his focus was not necessarily on volleyball. It was kind of on, you know, weed. And so he is going out of Berkeley. It's fine, no judgment. But he was in real estate now. So I call him up and I get voicemail and I'm like, dude, like, you're in real estate. I'm in mortgage. Like, let's get together and get a lunch. It'd be great to hang. I haven't seen you since college. Hang the phone up, turn to my buddy and I go, I cannot believe this guy. Of course, this guy's in real estate. In college, this guy was the biggest stoner of all time. So of course he's selling real estate. What a joke. And then all of a sudden I hear through the speaker, if you're satisfied with your voice message, you know, please hang up. If you'd like to erase and re-record, press 3. I panic, I freak out, and I hang it up. And I send the message.
Dude, that is crazy. Why didn't you hit the pound button so you could erase the message? You just
full panic.
Oh my God.
Sent it. He never called me back. I didn't know if I should call him again. Like I just moved on. Like I just was like, okay.
Yeah. And dude, I've heard about these all the time. I hear people hit reply all, and you know the person you're talking crap about is on the email. I've seen some disasters, and luckily for me, I mean, if I had one of those, I would beat you because I've gone off in my emails before by mistake. But now I think that's one of the rookie mistakes is like, you know, it's funny at the same time. It's really like just something that everyone needs to get over. You get so emotional in this business, like you know, so much is on the line with the deadlines, and the referral partner are on you, and there's movers and there's escrow deadlines and there's these deadlines, and it's all on your shoulders. And when something goes wrong, it's like I really feel like it's like you got dumped. Your body's response is like you literally got dumped in ice cold water. Yeah, and you have a fight flight response, and that's why people lose it in a lot of these in real estate and mortgages, because you get these. I don't know, you just get like worked up, but then you're off on somebody. So, but I started, and I've never sent somebody an email and then regretted it. But what I've done is I just had a rule typing it out and not sending. You know what I mean? Because like you type something out, you'll be like if somebody really let you down or screwed you, like I'll type it out and then not send it and then come back to it like when you've calmed down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way,
it's just
getting a little bit of the like robot clickiness on the Wi-Fi, so just a heads up. But I know we're powering through. So you've never sent an embarrassing email. You've never done a reply to all. You've dodged that your whole career.
Yeah, I don't know if it's dumb luck. What I've had some near misses, like oh crap, and not done it. So I could have you if I had sent one of those, but that's a mistake that I think a lot of people make, is just getting caught up in the short-term panic and then sending off something that you're going to regret.
What's up, Arturo? Yeah, no doubt, man. So you're following the old, like, write the email and then delete it, get the emotion out, and then don't send it.
Yeah, or just don't send it, and then you'll find you'll redo it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think, yeah, that. But one of the mistakes I made in the beginning was probably oversell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, yeah. You've said this before. You've shared this before. So, you know, what did you learn? What were you doing, and what was the mistake?
So I think in the beginning, you feel like you need to like oversell yourself. So I would go into meetings, and dude, if I recorded these meetings I had with referral partners, like I wouldn't be able to watch them back because they were so bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's worse than like your videos. It's worse, like, because it's just so embarrassing because you keep talking about like, oh, I do this and we have this and we do this. And like a yes man, you say we can do all these things. And you're just trying to like impress because you're so desperate for them to the thumbs up, you know, and to send you that first referral. But you're actually it's working against you, right?
It's terrible. I got lucky because I was too insecure to actually like talk through that kind of stuff and like actually pitch myself in the beginning. So I do just like say hi and like ask them how their day was and like run away from like broker previews. But I literally watched a title rep walk into a real estate open house. I'm sitting there talking to the agent. And then I said goodbye and I was going to go see the rest of the house. And I heard the title rep from the other room literally like corner the agent and be like, why aren't you sending me business? And I was like, oh my God, that's so uncomfortable. Like how? And like, I can just picture the agent being like, because I don't like you? Like, what do you say? Like, it's such the wrong approach.
It's so awkward, right? And just making that awkwardness is like why they would never use you ever again. You know what I mean? Like, or even consider using it. And I think people are putting, you know, just that used car salesman kind of attitude or scripting or whatever that is. It's just the other person feels so awkward. So I think I had plenty of meetings like that, and I wish I could redo all of them because, like, dude, it's just embarrassing, you know. But the point is, I think you probably have to go through those to get to the good ones. Same thing with content. So I guess it just comes with it. But yeah, I think a major mistake I made was not being confident in what I had to offer. You know what I mean? So there's many things I had to offer, but because I didn't have the confidence, I was overselling, and then it comes across wrong.
So speaking of not having the confidence, so I have a story. When I was young, decided that I was going to be a sales manager and try to grow a team. And so I went and I'm personally producing. I was funding, 8 to 10 million a month, and I'm running around trying to hire loan officers. And at 24, who's going to work for you? You're like, I was like a year in the business. So I found some loan officers and I convinced them to come like try to work around me in my little satellite office. And I had this one loan officer who was just this huge talent, but couldn't execute and just kept failing and all of a sudden this guy came to me and said, I need money. And I was so personally like attached to this guy that I was like, okay, I'll try to help you. Like, what do you need? And he's like, I need $5,000, and gave me this whole sad story. And, I'm like, sure, dude, I'll lend you money. Gave him $5,000 and he left the country the next week. Like, not a joke, like actually left the country.
Whoa.
And from then on, I realized that wasn't a good move.
Dude, that's crazy, man. Have you had what have you had as far as like mistakes you've made with regards to like hiring and firing and things like that? Because I think we've all had those kind of mistakes, right?
Oh, massive ones. I mean, so when I started trying to become a leader, whatever that means, and that's kind of like a perpetual journey forever. Man, we chase top producers. Right? Like you chase top producers. You're like, yeah, like I want to notch the belt. I want to get a victory. I want to hire this guy or this gal. And you go after these top producers and you can blow up your entire office with a terrible culture fit. And so, and you get kind of your eyes get all big. It's almost like chasing that top realtor too. Like you get all like, oh my God, that top realtor, like that, the number one person. And like in my experience, the number one realtor in a lot of markets is always just a train wreck. And like they're competent and they do a lot of business, but they'll blow your whole career up. Like they'll blow up your business, your office. And the same thing happened with me several times. Is just, a wrong culture fit. I get excited because I'm like, I see the numbers. I'm like, I'm going to land this whale. I'm going to hire this guy or gal. And then a year to 2 years later, it's like just ending violently because it just wasn't a good fit. And I'm like, man, what could I else have done in that year to 2 years if I just had gone a different direction? Yep. So
the middle producer is like the best one. I have the same. I've gone after the same mistakes. You look at that production list, and you're going after the top referral partners, the top guys, right. And those guys aren't your best referral partners. I have a relationship with some of those people, and they're great. But to be honest, the ones that with the most we do the most business with are in that middle pocket. That they're just steady, consistent, and they refer you because you have a real trust there and a real value that you guys provide each other. You're true partners, like true sales. Like I'm an extension of that guy's sales team, and vice versa. So, like I think what a lot of LOs don't get is that what we say and what we do can really impact a buyer's decision. So we're not just a vendor. Like, hey man, can you use me? Just like selling home warranties. I mean, don't dig yourself to this low step of just another vendor, because we're talking to these clients in the very beginning and what we can say, like what we do, how we attach financial opportunity to this whole transaction. Like that's huge impact to whether somebody even moves forward. And I think like once your referral partner gets that you're a true partner on their sales team, now it's just a totally different type of relationship. And some guys get that. And I notice the guys who are big producers, they don't care. They're like, dude, I'm so big, I'm crushing it. I don't need help. I just need someone to close the deal. And if you don't close it, then you're out.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of relationship.
I mean, I think the biggest mistake I made and had to learn through, and I know everyone else did in there that has become successful through origination, was just finding the right partners, right? Like not being greedy, not being like, I mean, I tracked the top 100. That was when I started as a newbie, I was like, here's the top 100. And I was hunting all the top 100 agents. Well, that wasn't smart. They're not necessarily the best cultural fit for me. You know, they do a ton of production, but you know, I probably spun my wheel a lot with a lot of those people. And then, you know, the abusive agents who just take you for granted, like you're talking about, who just want to beat you up and cause you so much stress and pressure. And you're like, and you take it on because you're like, I want the money, I want the business. And that's a huge mistake that everyone, I think, learns through as they kind of hopefully mature through it. But I still know some really great loan officers that are stuck in that space. And I'm like, you've been a loan officer for 15 years. Stop.
Yep.
Like stop the cycle.
I have that
on your life.
I have that. This is a mistake I made for years, and probably people like you said, 10-year veterans still make this mistake. It's chasing short-term dollars over, you know, long-term benefits. So I think it's like you're always looking for the next deal. You're always looking at, you know, things transactionally and less about the relationships. So I think like at some point something changes and you're like, okay, I'm going to switch from transactional to relationship. When you have a relationship driven business, now it's totally different. Stop looking for your next one deal. You're looking for your next 100 deals, looking for a relationship that's going to produce that. And so that I think chasing short-term dollars is the number one vulnerability of all the loan officers, including myself, that, you know, just until recently.
So I got another really good one. And I think you probably have several of these too that you've probably learned for, but in packaging loans or even in managing people, you know, sometimes there's a problem that's going to happen. Like you see the problem on the loan. You're like, oh crap, like this is a problem. And instead of going and addressing it with the customer and the realtor being like, this is a problem, I'm working on solutions. Some people, especially myself, I tended to go try to find solutions first. And that's fast if you can be really fast at finding solutions. But if it's taking a long time and all of a sudden the customer and the realtor and everyone thinks everything's going great and it's not, there's a big problem and you're trying to solve it and you haven't alerted everybody. It's just that to me is a major rookie mistake. And if you're dealing with personnel and like somebody's acting up or they're out of culture or they're beating up underwriters and you're just kind of like not addressing it fast and you're letting it cook, like that caused me undue stress and problems in my career. It's just like when there's a problem, just tell everybody there's a problem and then come at it from a solutions oriented position. But I don't know. I mean, that was a big learning curve for me, was like trying to solve stuff without telling people, hey, this is actually going to be a problem.
Yeah. Under communicating. So like, if you over communicate in this business, it helps everything with staff, with referral partners, with borrowers, like everything it works with. So I just try to, I used to do the same thing of just hope something doesn't get, you know, it doesn't come up, and then inevitably it does come up and you get, you know, you get hosed at the very end. So that is a rookie mistake, and it goes all the way through veterans now.
Of course, it's like same thing with like a low appraisal. A low appraisal comes in and you don't tell anybody because you're trying to fix it or renegotiate it. And like, everyone's like, well, was the appraisal back? And now you're like, you're kind of lying. And like, you're just, like, stop, like just immediately, like it's low. Yeah. Maybe they're mad at you or the realtor blames you for some reason that the appraiser came in low but like, you gotta tell people what's going on.
They'll respect you more if you shoot straight. So I have relationships with people. And if you call them, Alec, and you're like, hey, dude, why do you like working with Neel? He shoots me straight. That's it. It's all it is. Like, just somebody's like, okay, you've written escrow for 25 days in a market where appraisals are taking 30. Okay, we're not going to, like, I'm going to tell you that on day one. You know what I mean? Like, depending on the situation. Yeah, I'm going to try and rush it. I'm going to do the best I can, but I just want to let you know right up front that this may not work because of the environment we're in, and I don't want to mislead anybody. So I don't want people scheduling movers and installation of this and that, and then I'm going to be the guy that lets everybody down at the end. So I need to tell you this right now, and they will say thank you for telling me. Like, they're not going to rip your head off.
By the way, if anybody watching has a great horror story of a mistake, share it, because I'd love to hear. You don't name names, but like, just if you have, because like here's where my head went, Neel. Like, I had a situation where we're under a lot of pressure right now. Specifically, like, this happened like last week. There's just a lot of loans, and I wish we knew that every loan officer was going to put in 6 loans instead of their normal 2, but like, we didn't know. And this is now in a position where a lot of companies are impacted. We're hiring the world. We're trying to get ahead of the whole curve. And I had a loan officer who had an upset customer. And so she was like, I have to hit docs on this refi. I'm like, well, we're prioritizing purchases right now, and we'll get to the refi, but maybe just give them an extension, give them a credit, tell them, I'll call them and say, we're sorry, but like, they're still living in their home and we got somebody's moving van. We got to get this done. And all of a sudden what I found out was she sent me the text chain with this upset customer to kind of show me how upset the customer was. And I scrolled down and the loan officer had committed to docs to the customer. Right? Like, yeah. So like, the pressure from the customer caused this loan officer to tell them docs will be out next week, which is not reality. They just bent to the pressure. And now they're trying to, shove it through the system because they committed to something that isn't happening.
Yeah. So this is trying to please everyone. This is you can add that to the top list of loan officer fails. Trying to please everyone. By trying to please everyone, you're not, because people know you then as someone who's unreliable, because your word is your bond, right? That's your reputation. That's our brand. Our personal brand is our reputation. I mean, if nobody understands personal branding, it just means reputation, right? 100%. So trying to please someone and overpromising, that's got to be a T-shirt or something, a sign on a wall in the office. Like overpromising. Yeah. It's like the number one fail of every loan officer across the industry. Overpromising.
I've done it. I've made mistakes. I wanted that realtor so I just said, I could do it. And like, knowing I couldn't do it, I had to go. Like, we've all done this mistake, and it's a killer. It's a killer.
Well, some people are pushing very hard. So I totally get it. I feel that pressure. They call you and they're like, can you do this? And you say, no, it's not gonna work. Well, can you do it anyway? Yeah, like, dude, I just said no.
Yeah. Or they start threatening you, or they start, they like, well, they call your boss and they call the CEO, and they're just, it's hard. It's hard to lead through it with transparency.
Yeah. So, overpromising and under-delivering, that's a huge one. I think another one is talking, not listening. So you're telling your staff to do this, and they're not doing it. Well, what's the problem? Maybe there's a system problem. Maybe there's something that's making their jobs more difficult, and not looking for the real solution. So you're looking at the flare up, the end of the line problem, but you're not going back to the root issue, which is like, hey, when we put the loans in, there's this thing that's not being done, and it's causing this huge delay throughout the whole process, or this huge headache on this person. Now this person's losing it at the end, but we could have fixed this thing in the beginning, So yeah. I think like just I don't know what the saying is, but they're putting like gum in it, or like we're like plugging holes in this business all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're not fixing the leak, the main fucking leak that's way down the road. We're just plugging the holes at the end here.
Totally. So, okay. So here's a good one from management and leadership that I experienced. And so let's see what you got here. But I had a aha moment. So this goes back into 2010. And so I was at Bank of America, because Countrywide has acquired, the crisis went down, the world had ended. But in 2010, my branch that year did $1 billion, $1.05 billion. So Jesus. 70% refi. It felt a lot like this. We weren't in the twos, but it was like there was loans falling from the sky. And I had built my entire career up to then on the purchase market. I all on realtors, all on builders, all on like what I was been taught as sustainable business. because refis come and go, and this is the bread and butter. And so at some point I was so dissatisfied with the company that I was going to make a transition to a non-bank that was more purchase centric, that could close loans on time. And the team, who I had such a tight connection with these people, like several of them just absolutely broke my heart, because they came with me, but then they went back. And I was like, what we were so tight, and I what happened? And I learned one of the biggest life lessons of my career, which was, I became super resentful. I'm like, you left the team, you left me. I thought I was your leader, all this stuff. And what I learned was everyone's on different journeys, and we might be on the same journey for a period of time together. But some point, for some of these guys, like, they wanted to make that refi money. They wanted to make that refi money, and going out and getting purchases was brutal. And there was refis at the bank just falling from the sky, and they wanted to make that money. And I was like, I was judging them for not having long-term perspective. I was resentful for leaving the team. And then I had to realize we're just not on the same journey anymore. And, go with God, like, go do you. But it was a major life lesson for me, because it really emotionally affected me, until I realized that in life, we're not always on the same journey forever with the people around us. It might be for a period of time. It might be for our whole life. It might be for 5 years. But at some point, if somebody decides they want to go on a different journey, and you want to stay true to yours, I got a lot of freedom from kind of going through that experience. It hurt me a lot, but I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, I had that same thing where, the guys we started with, the girls we started with, then, we worked for a company, that company went bust, and you assume we're all going to go together. And then you find out, a month or two later that this is going somewhere else, and he didn't tell you, or this person's going here, or she's starting her own thing. And you hold that, like, dude, I held those, that resentment, or that kind of like just angry at that person for like, you almost feel like abandoned, you know what I mean? For years. For sure. Like, and then you're like being ultra competitive with that person. Like, I'm to get them. And there's no point. Like, it's stupid. But I have people, like, to this day, I know in the business, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? Or, hey, she's crushing it. He's crushing it. Dude, I hate that guy, man. We used to work together, and he bailed on me. I'm like, what do you mean? That was a decade ago, bro. What are you talking about? They're like, they're still holding on to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that is a cancer, right? You got to cut that out, because it's going to hold you back. It held me back from like letting go. And so it was a tough experience, but the other mistake I made in leadership was I had a really close employee who had worked for me for like almost a decade. And, we're buddies, because as you work together for a long time, you the personal commingles, you just kind of start to build relationship. And I promoted him to a branch manager position when I had a manager retire. And I'm like, you're ready for this? You're the man for this. Like, do you want this? And he said, yes. And then he took the job, and I kind of took my eye off him. I was like, because he's a stud. He's a total stud. I'm like, he's got this, dude. And all of a sudden, a few years later, he resigns. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how? And what happened was I just wasn't connecting with him and asking him, are you okay? Do you like this? He was doing a great job. I'm like, are you happy? And turns out he wasn't happy. He didn't like it. He didn't like leading loan officers that he had inherited. He didn't like the job. He felt like they were all whiny and pain in the butt and all that stuff. And I was off growing branches, doing other stuff. And I never took the time to come back and be like, dude, are you good? Because you're presenting as good. So I don't see any smoke. I don't see any fire. And all the time underneath the surface is dissatisfaction, and he left, and it broke my heart again. And I realized, shit, like, that's on me. Like, I could have helped him find another opportunity. I could have done lots of different things, but I just didn't even check in enough on the deep personal level to be like, are you happy in the role you're in? Even though you're presenting happy, are you really happy? And so
you're what you just said, like, I don't know, it just clicked with me. This is what everybody needs to do right now in this business. If you did not, we're making jokes and stuff, and there's a lot of fun with learning from mistakes, but this is super important right now. Like, our people, our ops people are our biggest asset today. Like, you just, if anything, you have to know right now that your team and your people are the most important, because you can't do this. You can't be a one-man show.
No way.
I mean, you can't do any of this stuff on your own. And how you can get stuff done is through a great team and great people. So I forgot, you just reminded me, like, I need to ask every single person on my team,
Yeah.
hey, dude, like, are you okay? How's it going?
okay?
Is there stuff? Is everything like, what's going on? You know, and you just get so caught up in the, work. And how many times are you asking them? And I think like that could be the difference for somebody. You know, maybe they feel like we're just using and abusing them, and really we do care about them. We just don't say it, enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it, but we get Jason, what's up, dude? We get stuck on our own stuff. We're self-focused by nature as a species for like self-preservation. Like, so we go internal a ton, and you're right. Like, that's a mistake. We need to go external and check in with people. And it was when I learned, and I still struggle with it, because all of a sudden I've been like, oh my God, I haven't talked to that person in like 2 weeks. Are they okay? Should I call them? Crap. Happens to me
Dude,
too.
just sending a quick message. I got this the other day on Instagram DM from from a colleague who's not even in our company, and he sees all the stuff I'm doing, and he sent me a voice memo, and it said, "Hey, dude, love your stuff. I see you're crushing it. I just want to check in with you, dude. How are you managing all this stuff? Are you okay?"
That's cool.
And I was like, dude, actually, yeah, I know I post the highlight reel, but it's behind this like front, there's a lot of shit going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a struggle. Like, I'm, managing people, complaints. All these people are coming to you with all their problems, and then you have your personal life, family, kids, pandemic issues, school issues. Like, there's a lot going on right now, and just someone saying that they care is really super important, especially right now.
By the way, that reminds me of like something I'm trying to live by that I'm still not doing a great job on, which is everybody who's going to get a text or a voicemail or an email from you is going to receive that in this mental headspace they're in. So if if their dog just died and you just sent them a text of like, "Hey, can I get doxxed today?"
Yeah,
they're going to receive that in a really negative way. And you just were probably just like, "Hey, are you doxxed today?" Like, that's like the Key and Peele skit with like the misinterpreted text exchange. Have you seen that thing? It's incredibly.
yeah. Dude, this is you just brought it up. Okay. Adding tone to someone's text is a major mistake. Okay. Just read it flat or read it with a smile. Someone says, "Hey, what's going on with this file?" You could say that mean, or you could say, "What's going on with this file?" Like, say it with a smile. I don't know. But people are like adding a negative tone to everything written, because like right now, nobody will pick up the phone. We use instant messaging, DMs, texts, right? So they're adding all this tone, and I've seen people get into full blowouts with other staff members, and the person that they're mad at didn't even intend anything that this person interpreted, like completely wrong. So that's a huge mistake going on right now, especially in the age of text-only communications, no phone, no context, no face behind it.
Yep.
So I would just say this: add an emoji to your requests. You know what I did? I with my team, my staff, who helps us. We have a staff of about 100 people in India that helps us with like docs and CDs and things like that. We have an offshore part, and those guys, I'm friends with all of them on Facebook. They message me and they're like, "Are you a celebrity in America?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm just a regular dude in Reno, Nevada." But they're like, they're so enamored by everything going on in the U.S. Because in other countries, I think that's one thing we don't realize here is how good we have it here in the U.S. But these guys, I've become friends with all of them, and so when I ask them for something, I'm like, "Hey, man, I noticed this didn't get done. Can you please get this out?" And add in an emoji that's contextual to them. So like, I add like, the thank you emoji like this, because they would understand that in India, or, just something like that. And those guys really feel like you're empathetic to what they're going through, or just a fist pump, or, when it gets done, send a high five. Yep. Nobody's doing that.
Nobody's doing that. Low-hanging
Nothing.
fruit.
So
All right, I got my last one here. We're hitting the end. So if you saved your big mistake to the end, let's you can go after me and you can top it. So I grew up in a household with strict parents, but also a really strict code of personal responsibility. Like, and I had great mentors. You know, I always tell this story, like on the basketball team when we were winning CIF, I was the point guard. And during this one play, my power forward, the best player on our team, you know, he's supposed to hold a fist out if he's going to cut back door. And it's a little basketball speak. If he's going to come out, cut back door, he's supposed to hold a fist so that I don't pass the ball to the air while he's turning the other way and going back towards the hoop. So in this one play, he didn't hold the fist out. He cuts back door. I just sail the ball into the audience because he cut when I didn't think he was going to cut. And I'm yelling at him at the break, and the coach just stops everything. And he's like, "Who threw the ball?" He just shuts it all down. He's like, "Who threw the ball?" And I was like, "I did." Because I kept making excuses like, "Well, he didn't put his fist out." And the coach was like, "Who threw the ball?" So I grew up with tons of personal accountability. And one of my favorite phrases is, "The grass is never greener somewhere else." And I built my entire career on this. I would struggle and strive and be like, I got to mow my grass. I got to take care of my garden. I got to stay here. I got to grow this thing and grow this thing. And anybody in the way, grass is not greener, like keep going and keep going, until I was sitting in the dead bones of Countrywide up in Calabasas after Bank of America took over in Angelo Mazzillo's old office with the guy named Matt Vernon, who was running Bank of America home loans after the crisis. And I had worked at Bank of America now for 2.5 years, built my branch, continued to build the branch, no excuses, to the number one branch in the country. And we were dying because we had no operational support. Felt very similar to this. We had we just dying. My branch was originating $400 million a month and only able to fund $100 million. Dying. And I'm like, I will hire everybody. I will bring them on. Just give me the permission. I'll hire everyone. I'm sitting in this guy's office because everyone was just telling me side stories. And he goes, "I know you can hire everyone, Alec, but we're not going to do it." And I'm like, "Why? You have so many customers who are just destroying, who are so angry." Neel, back then in my market in Southern California, realtors were writing in their contract, "We will not accept loans from Bank of America," in the contracts. Like that gnarly. And so I'm sitting here like, why? And he goes, "We're meeting shareholder demand. In fact, we're exceeding shareholder demand for the mortgage division. We're going to blow through all the numbers. And the enterprise is more important than your loan officers and the customers. They'll just cancel and go somewhere else, and it's okay." And I was like, wow. You know, everyone else besides you was not telling me that. They were telling me help is coming. We're working on it. And I'm like, you're not, it's been a year. You're not working on it. And then I realized that no matter how hard you believe in personal accountability, this is not, mortgage is a team sport. Like you said it earlier, Neel, like with operations, if they were gone today, we're screwed. It's over. Like you don't get to do loans. Life is a team sport. And if you're not all pulling on the same side of the rope, I don't care how much personal responsibility you have. If someone's taking a crap on your garden that you're tending behind you, wearing the same jersey as you, like that's not true. And that was hard for me because I'd never left a company. I was ride or die, personal responsibility, grass is never greener. And then I got this crazy moment where I was like, hold on, it's not about the grass is greener. It's not about devaluing personal responsibility. That's still massively core to anybody's level of success. But you got to be on a team where people are rowing the same direction, or you'll never get to where you're trying to go. And so, you know, it kind of just, it was a learning lesson because I spent 3 years at the bank, and I always wonder, like, what could I have done if I would have realized that earlier?
Yeah.
It's just one of those moments where I'm like, man, that was 3 years. That's a lot of time. I could have been doing something, building something. And then I took this lesson from you too. I guess this is hand in hand with this. Is I wish I would have gotten to social media earlier, like 5 years ago. I wish I would have focused on this space that we're hanging out in a serious way. Like,
this is a huge thing in our business. I had two things, you know, kind of to wrap up of what, you know, mistakes, you know, that I think people are making that they could improve on. And a lot of them are tactical, you know, they're a little tactical, but what you just said kind of made me think of something that's even more important. It's this, you know, what is the average age of a loan officer nowadays? Like, isn't it old?
50. 50 plus.
Okay. It's old. We're old guys. And realtors too, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking a lot of guys I deal with are late 40s, you know,
Yeah.
real estate agents. I think we're plagued in this industry in particular by the should, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Right. I should have been on IG 5 years ago. I should have been on this. I should have done that. Dude, I wasted years at a company not growing my business, just being transactional and, you know, going month to month and this huge roller coaster of, you know, big ups. And then I'm down for months because I didn't prospect and I had no, like, I was just running a hamster wheel. I never had no sustainable business. So in an industry where everybody's plagued by shoulda, woulda, coulda, like, it's just the wrong mindset because you have to think about this. I thought it was too late to make a shift. And because I don't even know how old I am. I'm late 30s now. So like, dude, I still have 30 years of work left in me, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Right. So we're like, I know it's, you hear this cliche, like it's not too late, but dude, it really is. If you're in your 30s and you're like, dude, I haven't even started social, I'm still doing the sales, you know, the transactional sales model. I don't have the right relationships. I don't have the right team. All is lost. So many people get in that mindset and then they just never make the change. But dude, there's plenty of time to make any change that you want. It doesn't, like, how many times do people say this? Oh, we've had a bull run in mortgages and real estate for the past decade. So it's probably coming to an end. So, you know, I'm not going to like grow my team. I'm just going to ride it out till the next crash. You know, like there is no crash coming probably in certain markets. You know, it's not going to be the same type of event that occurred in the 2008 was a once in a lifetime event. You can't plan for another once in a lifetime event. So I think that getting out of that shoulda, woulda, coulda, and just making the changes you need to make, that is huge. That's advice that anybody could implement and like probably change their business and life right now.
Dude, that's actually the perfect message to end on because I could not echo and agree with that more. It's like everyone, you know, Gary Vee says it all the time too. He's like, you're young. You got start now and see what you can accomplish in the next 10, 20, 30 years. There's plenty of time left.
But he, you know, people think he's talking to 25-year-olds. He's talking to you, 42-year-old Bob, who's isn't where they want to be business-wise and financially.
Yep.
What could you do in 10 years? Just think about what you can do in 10 years. Like, you could start from, dude, you could take away everything. I could start from scratch and just knowing what I know, you know? So all the failures, all the mistakes, like this is the topic of today's thing, mistakes, all those are going to be the reason why something awesome happens in the next 2 years, or they're going to be the reason why you get to where you're going to be in 5 years. So don't think of it like, you know, as really mistakes. Just think about, like, I just did a post about this. I said, there's value in failing because then you know how to win.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would not be where I'm at or who I'm at or who I am without the massive mistakes I've made, right? They grow you, they teach you. If you don't make mistakes, you're not playing the game. And so I look back and I laugh. I make sure I hang up my phone every time now. Like I make sure that when I'm hiring somebody, I look deep into their soul and like, are we a good culture fit? Like I make way different decisions that cause me less pain and hopefully and ideally bring me more success because of the mistakes that I've made. So
it's the only way you can learn.
That's
like
it.
Learning by doing, right?
Well, dude, you're the man. I thank you for rapping with me for 45 minutes about the mistakes we made. I'm sure we'll make many more. We can come back every year and
I'm going to make some today. So, and sorry, dude, about my connection. If it was messed up, I don't know what's going on here tech-wise, but we rolled with it.
You know what? People are going to appreciate it more because there's no BS, dude. Sometimes phones don't work. What are you going to do? You know, like you're going to move on, close loans. Neel, thank you, dude. Have a wonderful rest of your day. For everybody out there, stay safe. We'll see you on the internet.
All right, dude. Thank you.